Welcome back. Week 2 in the jury selection for the Justin Ross Harris trial is underway. He's the Georgia father accused of leaving his young son to die in a hot car. Harris pleaded not guilty, faces life in prison if convicted. So far, more than 250 potential jurors have had to answer questions about, among other things, their sex lives, their dating history, and whether or not they watch pornography. Several people have been dismissed, and we still may be a long way away from having a jury. Joining me now, HL legal analyst and defense attorney Philip Holloway, who's in front of the courthouse, I believe. Philip, it's good to talk to you. There was some drama in the courtroom earlier today with one of the jurors. What happened?
There sure was, Yasmin. This particular juror, he's the last one that was questioned before the lunch break. He answered to one of the lawyer's questions. He said, listen, there was some people talking about this case while we were all filling out the juror questionnaire. The juror questionnaire specifically says, don't talk about this case. You don't talk to anybody while you're filling it out. But he testified under oath today that the jurors were, in fact, violating the judge's instructions. So I can promise you this will be an issue that will be explored by the defense, and they may even try to ask the judge for a mistrial, which, if granted, although I don't think it's likely, would mean that we would have to start all over again.
So they could feasibly have a mistrial over this, over the fact that some jurors could have possibly been talking about the case while filling out the questionnaire?
It's not beyond the realm of possibility, and the idea is that if the entire pool of 250 some odd jurors who did complete this questionnaire, if they were verbally expressing opinions saying, hey, look, I think Justin Ross Harris is guilty, that theoretically could taint the entire jury pool. But keep in mind, every single juror up until this point, and there's been more than a couple of dozen, I think, has said or has not said anything about this. They have not said that they heard anything in the jury room. They've been asked specifically, you know, where did you get your information from about this case? What did you hear, and from what source? And nobody but this one juror has mentioned it, but it will be something that I promise you the lawyers will be asking about as we move forward.
All right, speaking about tainting the jury pool, the defense, they asked to be able to privately interview some of the possible jurors. What's the status on that motion?
Well, they are questioning each juror individually outside the presence of the others for that very reason. They've been doing that since the very beginning of jury selection. They answered the general questions on the questionnaire, so now they're being brought in one by one so that when people have these strong opinions, they're free to vocalize them and talk about them without the risk of further tainting any other jurors who may or may not have opinions. Yasmin?
Philip, let's take a look at a few of the potential jurors that have made the cut so far. I want you to tell me if you would pick them or if you would strike them. You, of course, have worked in Cobb County yourself. All right, juror number 1, white male in his 50s, married but previously divorced, 2 children, daughter is 25, son is 27, doesn't know all the circumstances of the case, but doesn't know how someone could leave a child in a car seat. Good juror or no?
Well, it depends on whether you're the prosecutor or you're the defense. Obviously, if you're the prosecutor and you've got someone skeptical of the idea that someone could leave a child on accident in the back of a car, then that's probably going to be someone that the prosecutor would like. On the other hand, this is going to be someone that the defense is likely to strike because they want to weed out people who simply cannot get their head wrapped around the concept that it is possible to accidentally leave your child in a car.
All right, juror number 7, white female, 50s to 60s in age, deputy clerk in Bartow County. So knows the court system, unmarried with 4 kids and 5 grandchildren, doesn't really know much about the case. How would you see that person?
She was one of the jurors that was qualified by the judge so that she is theoretically potentially one of the actual 12 jurors that will serve on this case. But in addition to what you just mentioned, Yasmin, she also previously worked at a district attorney's office in the victim witness unit, meaning that she had contact on a regular basis with victims of crimes. Obviously somebody that the prosecutor would love to have on their jury. There's no way the defense is going to let that person on the jury.
Philip Holloway, thanks so much for joining us. Keep it here on HL, everybody. Plenty more coming up.